can see Alex Asa from North Carolina. I can see Castro Lebesterano from Minnesota, USA. I can see my sister Joan Gemo from Boston, Massachusetts. Keep building. Keep building the audience, ladies and gentlemen. Keep building the audience. We shall begin very, very, very soon. Let me give about 1 or 2 minutes, and then we can begin. In the meantime, keep sharing, share and share and share. We need as much people as possible to watch this edition. I know the people on Ground Zero are all watching now, and I'm about to bring you people some very important announcements. Yeah, I can see my sister Helen Fufo joining all the way from California. I can see the population keeps growing. Evelyn Fonko is watching. Marichal Fongong Nobet from Nepal. I can see Yaoundé, La Republique's capital, in the house. Churchill, I hope that is not Issa Chiruma watching. I can see Don Dinka in DC. Yeah, he says he has started his second ticket. He's already on his second ticket of my trip to Boya. That is very good. Good job. I hope and I wish that many of us can emulate the example of this individual who has begun paying the second ticket. I can see William Jordan de Jesus, my personal person. How are you? Benz. Okay. William Benz. How are you? I can see a lot of other people joining. Please keep sharing, keep sharing. We are about to begin in about 30 seconds. Emmanuel Ekoso, welcome. Castro, welcome. Chefo Masamoni from United Arab Emirates. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, we won't take much of your time. We will begin our broadcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Ambazonians. Depending on whatever part of the world you are joining, the Federal Republic of Ambazonia State House press briefing today with your press secretary and humble servant, Dr. Nicholas Santos. I come to you today with revolutionary salutations from your acting president, Dr. Ikome Sako, and also with condolence to the bereaved families of the carnage that has happened in close to 48 hours now in Santa local government area of Pining, in Batibo and Bali, as well as the unlawful trials in the military kangaroo court of Yaoundé of some of our leaders like Mancho BBC and a host of others who have been sentenced to harsh imprisonment terms. I will begin today's briefing with a press release from the communication secretary, which came out after his outing yesterday and which was received at the State House press and which has been our concern and the concern of all members at your State House, including your acting president. I will begin by reading that press release. And this press release comes from the Department of Communication and the IT, State House Boya, Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And it's dated Friday, May 26, 2018, PS number 103. It says, the topic or the subject matter is summary execution of Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians in Menka, Pining. Okay, he says, soldiers of French Cameroon have summarily executed over 28 young men and women in Menka, Pining, today, the 25th of May, 2016. The interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia condemns this barbaric genocidal act of French Cameroon military in the strongest of terms and is drawing the attention of the national and international communities to the execution of unarmed civilians by French Cameroon soldiers. Eyewitnesses and survivors have told the interim government that they counted at least 28 dead bodies and that most of them are young men and women from Menka, Pining. One of the deceased has been identified as Mulu Eric Cho, a 24-year-old young man. Residents also reported that the young men and women killed by French Cameroon soldiers were randomly shot at on the street, and some of them at their homes. It is also alleged that some of the deceased were killed at point-blank range around a local motel. The corpses of the victims were abandoned by the soldiers, who also made scores of indiscriminate abductions of onlookers. Following the carnage, hundreds of villages have now run into nearby bushes, and the whereabouts of most elderly people is unknown. The killing in Menka yesterday afternoon by French Cameroon soldiers is not isolated, as decomposed dead bodies are reported across the territory of southern Cameroon. Ambazonia, for example, 25 dead bodies with bullet wounds were found in Bali this morning. While that was yesterday morning, while other 15 bodies were discovered along the street of Achatugi and Batibo yesterday. While extending condolences to the bereaved families, the acting president, Dr. Samuel Sako, has promised to do everything legally possible to protect communities in Ambazonia and also to bring the perpetrators of all gruesome killings in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia to the court of law. The interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia uses this opportunity to inform the international community that the carnage is getting worse every day. Ambazonians are therefore encouraged to defend themselves using whatever means possible from the brutal soldiers of French Cameroon. Signed, Chris Ano, Secretary of Communication and IT, Federal Republic of Ambazonia. NB, for all press inquiries, contact the Communication Secretary at 1-603-682-2687. So this press release is issued out by the Communication Secretary for the interim government and in consultation with your president, His Excellency Acting President Dr. Samuel Ikomisako. And this press release does explain the stand of your president and the stand of this interim government concerning the carnage. Nothing could have been better said than written in a press release, which has already been published in all press houses and in all WhatsApp forums as well as Facebook media, and issued out to various radio stations, that it should be read and read so that we the people of Ambazonia should understand where your interim government and acting president stand with regards to the carnage or the continuous genocide by the dictator Paul Biya in Cameroon, whereby he has decided that he will not allow the Ambazonians to have to exercise their freedom of self-determination and keep their already restored independence. He has decided that he is going to eliminate all of us and seize our resources and our territory by force. And it is high time the international community should step in. It is high time the international community should drag him to book and bring him to the International Criminal Court before it is too late. Because we will not allow this carnage to continue. He is not above 8 million Ambazonians. He will not take 1 million of us before he goes. He knows his days are numbered. So that is just what is happening now is just symptoms or signs of the last breath of a dying horse. The last kick of a dying horse, as it is often said, is painful or dreadful. And that is what we are saying from La République du Cameroon, because the military, both the military and the colonial officials, as well as President Paul Biya the tyrant, are overwhelmed by your resilience, your determination to stand by your restored independence and to shun away from whatever they are proposing, be it a decentralization, a federation. Ambazonians, and this your interim government in particular, and your acting president, have said enough is enough. is independence or nothing. Either we live free or we die. Okay, let me go into the second development. Then we will come back about the carnage. We'll come back to talk about the carnage. But let us go into the second breaking news that occurred after our Secretary for Communication came on air. It happened that when Secretary Chris Anu came on air, at the same time this decision was being taken in the Kangaroo military court in Yaoundé. So he did not have time to visit this. But I thought it wise, your press house thought it wise, and your president, your acting president, thought it wise to bring it to you people from this interim government. And this is the breaking news. After 16 months of trial, the case of Mancho BBC and Co. officially came to an end yesterday. Here are the various jail terms slammed by the president of the Yaoundé Military Tribunal, Colonel Abega Mbezwa, Epous Ekoko, on the 7 last Anglophone activists in the case file. This judgment is passed by a woman. Let me bring that to your attention. So these are the jail terms that were slammed on our compatriots. The first name is C. Conrad. Mr. C. Conrad was given 15 years of jail time. Mr. Ta Emil Agui was given 13 years of jail time. Mr. Tambwa Marvin T. was given 13 years of jail time. Mr. Winga Valentine was given 10 years of jail time. Mr. Aselecha Martin was given 13 years of jail time. Mr. Awa Thomas was given 11 years of jail time. And our hero of all, the father of the Coffin Revolution, Mancho BBC, was slammed 15 years of jail time. And they were, other than the amount of years that were given to them as jail time, they were also charged to pay for damages, court and civil parties to pay for damages. And the damages that were given were close to 204 million. 204 million CFA to pay for damages alongside these various jail terms. And they also noted in the court books that alongside this judgment that Barrister Agbo Bala and Dr. Neba Fontem are not concerned with the payment of damages as proposed by civil penalty. That is the decision of the court. The defense lawyers, however, left the court, promising to appeal the case. So I will take that again. I will take over the names again. And the jail terms that were slammed on our leaders yesterday at the Kangaroo Military Tribunal in Yaoundé, which is an unlawful decision because in the first place, our leaders were not supposed to be tried in military court. Civilians are not tried in military court. Military courts are meant for military persons. So when you know that with Paul Biya and Cameroon, the dictator, alongside with France, everything is possible. Only in La République du Cameroon can things like this take place whereby civilians are tried in military courts. So we condemn, your acting president does condemn this decision and regard this trial and detention of our leaders, this unlawful trial and slamming of jail sentences on our leaders as illegal, unlawful. And we shall challenge this decision in all the quarters that be, just the same way we challenged the American ambassador's first outing, which made him to backtrack. We will challenge Mr. Biya and we will challenge any decision that is coming out from the military court because first and foremost, our citizens were not supposed to be tried in a military court because the military court does not have any local standing to try civilians. So we shall read the names again of our citizens who are victims of this kangaroo judgment. We have Mr. Mancho BBC, the father of the Coffin Revolution, slammed 15 years. Awad Thomas, 11 years. Aseleche Martin, 13 years. Kinga Valentine, 10 years in jail. Tamwa Marvin T, 13 years. Ta Emil Agui, 13 years. C. Conrad, 15 years. Those were our liberation fighters who were yesterday convicted by the Kangaroo Court. And at the same time, the court thought it wise that they will not charge Barrister Agbo Bala and Dr. Neba Fontem with the payment of any penalties for their own time that they served under detention. So, ladies and gentlemen, this press house briefing is pregnant with these two important informations, and that's why I wanted to deliver the baby to you people today, so that you people should know that at this State House, your acting president and the members of cabinet are very worried with the developments, and they are doing all they can do to make sure that they challenge this and expose the Biya regime further. You must notice that time is catching up with the Biya regime, and that is why they keep on adopting different tactics and techniques whereby they will abduct our people. Or Atanga Ponji will work with people like Mr. Fru Jonathan of Pening. He will send boys around to go and lobby our youths whose houses have been burned, promising them food and promising them hotels to sleep or motels to sleep. They will lobby these boys and girls and take them into motels and claim that these are Ambazonia Defense Forces or Amba boys. They will take some 10 guns and placate these boys with and tell them that they are doing recruitment for the interim government or recruitment for the ASC, whereas these are Atanga Ponji's private recruits. And in that way, he will give the location of all these people that have been recruited by him, Atanga Ponji, and he's in collaboration with people like Mr. Fru Jonathan and other blacklegs in the Amazonian community. They will go and kill all these boys in the hotels or motels and girls and kill them in cool blood and to blame it on self-defense. That is the technique. Atanga Ponji, the devil, the Atangana of Yaoundé, has decided to go into certain Machiavellian moves to get our people, to get our innocent boys and girls and kill them and brandish to the whole world that they are recruits of the ASC or the ADF. He has decided to infiltrate self-defense. Atanga Ponji has infiltrated self-defense. So anyone, our young boys and girls on ground zero, who sees anyone doing recruitment, he should first of all consider that person as an emissary of Atanga Ponji, because they are simply luring them into hotels with food and clothing and other things so as to give their location so that the terrorist gendarmes will then come and execute all of them. Please, this is a warning. This is a warning from your acting president and a warning from this interim government for our young men and women down there to be careful with anyone they see around coming or approaching them to recruit them as Amba fighters. This is not the way the ASC functions. And it is also important for me to bring to all of you people down there, the various self-defense groups, the people, individuals who have decided to stand up and defend their blocks, to contact the ASC. If you want to contact the ASC and you don't have a way of contacting the ASC to be sure that this interim government will endorse you as a self-defense group, you can call the hotline of the State Press House or the hotline of the Communications Secretary, or you can contact the spokesperson for the ASC, Mr. So Foncha, who will tell you if the person that is doing recruitment down there is an Anglophone emissary, or it is not. And in this way, we are calling on all self-defense groups to notify the ASC about your existence, and if possible, collaborate with the ASC, because only the ASC can assure that such carnage do not repeat themselves. Because if all the self-defense groups on ground zero that are defending themselves against this monster and terrorist of Yaoundé, the military, if all the self-defense groups were coordinating properly or appropriately with the ASC, the event in Penin, the carnage in Penin, would have been avoided. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant with anyone going down on ground zero and say he's doing recruitment of young boys and young girls and placating them with money and food and taking them into motels. These are Anglophone emissaries. Anything that has not got to do with the ASC or any of your known groups that you already know in this revolution who are helping to defend our territory is considered null and void. Anyone coming from an undoubted source and that cannot be verified with the ASC, just know that you as a citizen or our citizen is venturing into the lion's den, and you will be summarily executed by Anglophone and his emissaries, such as Mr. Jonathan Fru and others, whom we know, the Ekemas. This is the technique. This is the anti-terrorism technique that has been adopted by Anglophone and all the Ekemas. They have been drilled that the best way to kill this revolution is to pretend also to set up an insurrection or a revolution within the government, as to infiltrate our revolution and pretend to be one of us and execute all of us. This is the same thing that is happening today with this proliferation of new groups within the liberation struggle. The liberation struggle, not only self-defense, has also been infiltrated. It has been infiltrated by organizations that you do not know their colors. If a woman is pregnant, at least we can do an echography to know if that woman is going to deliver a male or a female child. An organization that did crop up yesterday without us having the apparatuses to do an echography, stand denounced by this president, your cabinet and your interim government. We distance ourselves from such organizations, be they organizations that are promising us independence in 24 hours or 48 hours. We will distance ourselves from them, because this is the technique of Anglophone. This is the technique that led to the abduction of our leaders in Naira Hotel in Nigeria, and this will not repeat itself. Never, never, and never again. This acting president, and your State House press secretary, and your communication secretary, and the entire cabinet does distance themselves from any proliferation of groups, new groups jumping into the movement that are not known, as well as new self-defense groups that are coming closer to us. We must treat them with suspicion and distance ourselves from them until you, the people of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, can vet them and recommend to your interim government to bring them into a collaborative platform. We do know this organization, and we will not stress ourselves calling names of groups, because we are a government. We are mature. And we, the members of this interim government and your acting president, believe that we must come back to you, the people of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, each time to listen on what you people want and not what we want. And that is why this acting president and the cabinet have listened to you people, that it is only through some sort of collaboration or a platform that does also consider the stakes of the other stakeholders of this revolution that we can move forward to execute anything, be in negotiation with La République du Cameroon. And that is why this president has already informed you people of coming up with an all-Ambazonian consultative conference which will put into play, or which will bring together some of the stakeholders of this revolution, not only those members of groups, but also our fathers who have been at the helm of this revolution. We have our senior members of this revolution who tried this long ago before us, although it did not move at the speed in which we are at now. We do recognize their sacrifice and their tremendous job that they have done in setting the stage on which we are about to do the finishing. We do appreciate the good job that has been done by Fongoji Dinka, Ambassador Fossong, Justice Alobede Ebong, Dr. Fongalanfo, Chief Ayamba of blessed memory, and various actors who, Molanjo Litumbe and the others, apart from the other groups that we do know are very active in this liberation movement apart from your government. So we do recognize that in case there is any negotiation, in case there is any decision, we are not begging for negotiation. We are only telling the Republic that should at any time, at any point in time, they are ready to negotiate in an all-inclusive negotiation with a precondition of one, liberating all our leaders held in captivity in both Anglo-Saxon jails, Ambazonian jails, and also La Republique jails, demilitarizing our zone, and getting us to a neutral venue whereby there will be supervisors or overseers of the international community like the United Nations, the AU, the Commonwealth, with France being only a spectator alongside Britain. And that area or that environment, which is preferable to us, should hopefully be the United States of America. Should at any time La Republique becomes ready for any negotiation, we will have these preconditions to be met. And if these preconditions are met, then we will have an all-Ambazonian consultative conference that will present to you, the people of Ambazonia, those who are fit and qualified to enter into such negotiation. And this president has made it clear that any negotiation must be open to the public, and they must be open to all television stations of the world to know that this and this negotiation is taking place. We condemn any negotiation that will look like a monologue. What the Republic does best, not even a dialogue, a monologue. They will choose their own people, meet in Dakar with our captured leaders in chains to negotiate. How do you negotiate in chains? How do you negotiate in chains to get 8 million Ambazonians and those worldwide out of this genocide and out of this quagmire that La Republique dictator has put us in? How do you take our leaders in chain to negotiate, be it in Ghana under Kofi Annan or in Mali or Kuala Lumpur? That has nothing to do with the 8 million Ambazonians, because such a negotiation cannot be free and fair and cannot take place with our detained leaders expressing the opinion of 8 million Ambazonians who are free, because a man in chain will have to, first of all, try to break the chains before thinking about the plight of the people. So any negotiation entered into, although Secretary Chris did inform each and every one of you during the week that such negotiations do not even exist. There is no information that we have got genuinely from Kofi Annan's foundation about any negotiation that has been agreed to by Kofi Annan or by his foundation. They were surprised that La Republique is trying to continue in these lines that they have been doing all the time by coming up with lies and to make a type of organizational scam of few individuals meeting somewhere that they have been dialogue just as to cover their asses or to clean their asses that are being awaited at the International Criminal Court. Fellow Ambazonians, I come to you today with this information from your acting president that it will never be the same again. It will never be the same again. We will never repeat such a union with devils of La République. Honorable Indele said it in the past that our independence was our surest bet. When our people made that mistake, that grievous error of joining the French Cameroon, or by getting into this fraudulent relationship with La République du Cameroon, E.M. Indele sounded that whistle, or it was a whistleblower that indicated that there are terrorists. They have terrorist gendarmes that will beat us, will maim us, will kill us. They have been doing that silently for 56 years. But this time they have come out to show us really who they are. Who they are. And we now have come to the conclusion that any negative decision taken by La République du Cameroon only energizes the Ambazonian people. It goes to energize the Ambazonian people to remain more focused and resolute and eyes on the ball until victory, that we shall have peace. We are moving forward. The revolution is at the maintenance stage. We shall maintain the revolution, escalate self-defense, take more precautionary measures to guarantee safety of lives and persons, drag the kangaroo regime in Cameroon and all its military generals to the International Criminal Court. We shall exhaust all diplomatic moves that are possible. We shall take them to Capitol Hills. We shall take them to The Hague. We shall take them to everywhere in the world. We shall knock all the doors now more than ever before. Even if it means going to South Korea, to Russia, to knock the doors, we are ready now in this interim government to persecute La République du Cameroon more than ever before. It is this president's wish that in the coming weeks and days, the members of cabinet will be flying in all directions of the world to knock on all doors to see what help we can get to flush this regime and to end the genocide in our territory. This is the message I bring to you from this State House today. Your acting president is very disturbed. The members of this government are so disturbed. Everybody had sleepless nights. We have been working round the clock. We are doing quite a lot for you people of Ambazonia, because we understand we are a government, and we are calling on all the groups to also do theirs. They should not only look at the interim government, they should do what is good for the Ambazonian people and bring it to our table, and we will support. It's not only the groups. Each and every Ambazonian is a soldier in this revolution. And each and every Ambazonian should do what it takes. The days and the time for self-blame or blaming one another is over. We either end it now, or else all of us are eclipsed from the planet Earth. If there are members of this government who have never called another Ambazonian thinking that they are enemies, they are not. You have to call now. The events on Ground Zero makes us now to be united more than ever before. The events on Ground Zero makes us now to be friends and to be stronger against La République more than before. La République's infiltration has failed because our sentiments have been touched. We will be calling everybody. We will be asking for your help. We will be asking for each and everyone to give us strategies and to knock on all doors and bring how far you have gone to this interim government, to your state house or to your press house for execution. We will not rely whether that idea is coming from the interim government, that idea is coming from ADF, that idea is coming from Sukadef. We will not say that idea is coming from Bo Habet. We will work. This president, this acting president, has stated that he will work with everyone to make sure that this carnage on our people comes to an end. We are calling on all the groups to work with us open-heartedly, as the president said, and each and everyone is free to do whatever he or she likes as a group, but the point is that any new group that is suspicious is a group that we have to distance ourselves from, the same like any new self-defense on ground zero that is suspicious, we have to distance ourselves from. If you see, you can read the handwriting on the wall when a group is a group that we have to be careful about. We have their messages, we have their inboxes in their WhatsApp forums, we have what they say about the interim government. We know whether you are for us or you are against us. We know your heart when you testify, and we have people whom you work with who betray you to the interim government to know what your plans are. And if your plans are not welcoming enough, or your plans are those that will expose this government and your acting president as well as the other members of executive to have a second Naira abduction, we will not let that happen. We will not let that happen. We are vigilant now more than ever before. We are suspicious of anything new in this revolution. We know the people who have given it all. Who have given it all in this revolution, and we will work with them. We will work with them to make sure that we end the genocide, and we also drag that regime in Yaoundé and all the military personnel causing all the carnage on our people to the International Criminal Court. That is the news I bring to you today. So without much ado, I have touched on all the agenda for today, which was one, bringing to you people, all the agenda items for today, which was one, bringing to you people the information about the carnage and mayhem that was carried out in Santa Pinying, in Batibo, and in Bali, that led to about 48 of our young men who lost their lives out of the tricks, out of the Machiavellian tactics employed by Atanga Ponji, by deceiving them into a motel and other areas, giving them food and because they are homeless, and telling them that they are recruiting for the Amazonian boys. Whereas this was just a plan to infiltrate and kill some of our members. Then coincidentally, let me remind you, the people of Amazonia again, that there was a psychological underpinning to the executions. What are the psychological underpinnings of the executions? These executions were taking place at the same time that they were handing our liberation fighters very grievous jail terms. So at the same time that this was taking place, the executions, the military court was slamming our leaders. Heavy jail terms. This was in a way to intimidate our people, to know that if we do rise to protest against the detention of our leaders, we will be executed the same. So this was a tactics that La République planned to carry out the executions at the same time that they were slamming our leaders heavy imprisonment terms at the military kangaroo court. That is what La République knows. That is what La République knows to do best. They are good at planning evil. They are good at staging anything that is contrary to human values, anything that is satanic. That is the kind of people that we, the people of former British Southern Cameroons, Amazonia, have said never and never again in such a deceitful union. Never and never again will we go back yesterday. Even the federation, we will never accept that. Dialogue, we are not for it. We are for negotiation on the terms for which we shall go our way and they go their way. Negotiation for which both of us shall go our separate ways. And this negotiation shall be in the international scene, open to all. And all our leaders, frontline leaders, and members of your government, with our parents who are still alive, who have been at the forefront of this, must be on the table. That is what your president, your acting president, sent me today to reassure all of you people. To reassure all of you people. And that if you doubt his resolve, If any one of you doubt his resolve, just simply go to www.mytriptoboya.com and contribute and wait to see him take us to the finish line. This is the message I bring to you people from the Federal Republic of Ambazonia State House, and for this press briefing. I will conclude this State House press briefing by reminding all of you that the president, the acting president, has decided to organize an event on Saturday, June 16, 2018. That event is to launch the Southern Cameroon Refugee Support Fund. The Southern Cameroon Refugee Support Fund on the 16th of June 2018 shall be launched, and the venue will be 6301 Briswood Court, Greenbelt, Maryland. What is this all about? This is all about our refugees. This is all about our people who are caught in foreign lands, trapped in foreign lands with illegality as a result of La République du Cameroon having refused to renew their passports or extend their visas, and for which they are scared to go back to their country. We earlier announced that they should seek refugee or political asylum status at the closest United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee office close to them. Google the UNCHRO, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees office closer to you. Go over there, seek for political asylum or refugee status, explain the genocide taking place, show them all the gruesome images and photos, and this government got your back. This president will sign memorandums asking or requesting for protectorate status for all our citizens, same as it was accorded to all Rwandese when they had genocide in Rwanda, same as it was given to people of Haiti when they were faced by eruptions, natural disasters. This government will negotiate with any government on planet Earth, knowing that it is a government in the waiting. Any country will be ready to open its doors to discuss with the government of Ambazonia in the waiting abroad to grant this protectorate status under the awareness that we are a government of a people abroad. When we speak or when we go knocking the doors of UK, the doors of Russia, the doors of Thailand, the doors of the United Nations, the doors of the Commonwealth as the interim government of the people of Ambazonia, requesting for a protectorate status for their citizens who have been displaced from genocide carried out by the colonial regime in Cameroon, they will listen to us. We will send those letters out to all our citizens to carry these letters to their various United Nations High Commission for Refugees in the various countries, and then there will be a follow-up by the country heads who automatically are the leaders of the SCNC movement. Most of them are the country heads. They will still keep doing what they were doing best. The country heads will follow up with the interim government and help our people in all these precarious situations that are trapped in South Africa, trapped in Indonesia, trapped in the United States, trapped in London, trapped everywhere in the world, in Thailand, as a result of expired visas and passports that La République Embassy has deliberately refused to renew for our citizens because they think, they consider we Ambazonians as having had our own nations and we should not come to their embassy. So we are also working on our passports, our ID cards, that will be recognized in due time. But for now, our citizens should seek asylum, and this government got their back. And that is why our president is launching the Southern Cameroon Refugee Support Fund, which will help all these our refugees and asylum seekers across. And the president will explain this in detail across the world. The president will explain this in detail to you people at the gathering that will take place on Saturday, June 16, 2018, which is the launching of this event. So for all asylees, refugees, expired passports, visas that are not in good standing, please contact your State House Press Secretary. My number, 001-442-345-7045. That's the State House Press Hotline. Contact the State House Press Hotline so that you can get your name written down, and when these memos are being prepared to send to your country heads, your name should be there, that we have identified you, we know your plight, and that you are good to go, so that you will not be deported back to the Republic, where you will face arrest and summarily imprisonment or execution at the frontiers. If you cannot contact the press house, you can also contact the communications secretary at his number 001-603-682-2687. That is the communication secretary, secretariat, the communication secretariat. Or you contact the press house of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. These are the communication vehicles for this revolution and for your interim government and for this state house. Please, if you also have any money to donate to my trip to Boya, and you are having difficulty using the website, you can call any of our communication inlets or outlets, which is the press house or the communication secretariat. By these numbers I've given you, and your trip to Boya fund will be collected in cash or by donation, or you will be told where to deposit your money or where to pay your money, or you'll be guided on how to access the website. This is the information that I bring to you about my trip to Boya and about the refugee situation being handled by your government. And then I will come to the end of this by wishing each and every one of you people who are citizens of Amazonia good luck as you go about your activities for this weekend. And also the people on ground zero, I will advise them to take all the necessary safety measures that this government has put in place for you people to not to lose your life, as we have recorded a lot of loss of lives. So we want to help to curb this loss of lives. We want to see you people alive when we graduate, when we will be chanting that song of our new country. We don't want to have a new country with no people in it. We will always bring to you information that will help to save your lives, that will make you stay away from the terrorists, gendarmes, and bees, and military personnel. We know what La Republic is doing. We heard about the influx of ammunition from neighboring Nigeria with white convoy, which means that France is using a technique by which they now use Nigeria to support the government of La Republic to continue to hold us in captivity. This is an information that came into the press house, which we still have to verify. But we heard about the shipment of ammunitions and the entry of ammunitions on military trucks that paraded our streets in Bamenda and moved to certain undisclosed locations. And we know that according to that information, there were some white people involved in that transaction, and so we want to get this information verified before we can bring it up in full to you people, because we know that it's appearing to us in this government that La République du Cameroon, Nigeria, and the French government are all against us. They are all against us. They are working tooth and nail to take our territory by force, by hook or by crook. And we, the people of Amazonia, we at the interim government, and this acting president, and the members of your state press and communication desk have said, never and never again will we allow that to happen. I will round up this edition at this moment, at this point in time, having passed all important or salient points that are brought today to you people, fellow citizens of Amazonia. I wish to see you people again at same time next week, alive and not dead. I am your humble State House Press Secretary, Dr. Nicholas Santos. I wish you people a happy weekend. Bye-bye.